Suffering and life seem to be inseparable. When we consider all the misfortunes and terrible things that have happened to people and animals alike, we begin to question what the true face of life looks like, why there is so much darkness here, why we are left to endure it on our own, and why our prayers go unanswered. You must consider that to even have life, you must first have death, or else from what potential does life have to rise from? Death comes before life, and life must kill in order to live. That inescapable law of life in itself seems very dark indeed. That every living being requires a certain amount of sacrifice in order to live its life, essentially stealing it from others. The body, then, is a thief and a murderer by nature. Only in the modern abundance of food is this forgotten. In life, you must strive and strive, enduring all sorts of hardships, and you must never falter or make a grave mistake, for the weakened and misfortunate are swiftly dealt with mercilessly. Nature does not reserve compassion for those that need it. Only man is capable of this, a duty he is failing terribly at. Life is a dark place, and always has been. The only light on earth is in man's mind, the conduit to above to bring it below. But unfortunately, man only exacerbates the darkness, instead of transforming it with his intellect. But even so, suffering, pain, struggle, these are ingredients of life that we all face. For many, however, and especially true today, suffering can be a good medicine. But of course, it all lies in the balance, and many suffer too much or too little. Suffering too little, one will not be motivated to correct their disharmonious behavior and will not mature, because suffering directs one inward, reaching for the light of reason. But suffering too much, well, the outcome is clear. Life will not be worth living. We may not be able to escape suffering completely, but armed with certain knowing, we can create a strong mental defense against the hostilities of life, and make it more tolerable and perhaps enjoyable. The world is full of pain. Here are some ways in which we can minimize our suffering in life. 1. Learning to love everything. When you become bothered by something, it's because you don't agree with it, but it is you who is bothering yourself. By being bothered, your idea or preferences are in conflict with another's, and that is the instigation of war. But if you learn to love everything that is and happens, instead of starting a war, you create peace, and an agreement is made between things. Harmony is created. Instead of making life a battleground, you leave room for other ideas, different to yourself, and let them blossom, instead of wanting to change or destroy it. And by accepting it, you save yourself and the other pain. Variety is beautiful in nature, is it not? The same is true of humanity. Think about it. By learning to love everything, what then can ever disturb you? I mean everything. Even the things that seem crazy to love, like death. Love, love, love. It seems a bit like madness, but you experience mental liberation this way. And if it can offer this, it doesn't seem too crazy then, does it? Love will set you free. Change the way you react to things. Love all things, and you will never know pain of the mind, even if it exists in abundance outside of you. This is not an overnight process. Train your mind to respond and act only with love, and your life will improve dramatically. 2. Mental stillness. Overthinking, overprocessing, and overreaction will lead to neurosis. This culture and its environments force feeds our mind endless amounts of data, and this influences and develops our mind to run on all cylinders all the time, and this is terribly unhealthy for us. We are overfeeding our brain, and it cannot keep up with its digestion. For the sake of our sanity, slow down. Stillness and silence are of great benefit to us, in more ways than you can imagine. I'm hinting at the hidden capabilities of the mind. Learn to think and live and walk slowly through life, or you will suffer and miss all the things worth knowing and hearing. You aren't going to soak up anything sprinting through life. Walk, sit, listen. Slow down, I mean it. This is why cannabis has become so popular and so helpful to so many in this fast-paced world. It slows you down, and it is imperative that we find ways to do so in any way possible, within reason. Try to live at nature's pace, and stop force-feeding your mind so much nonsense. Keep it clean. They say you are what you eat. It is true of the mind as well. Integrate meditation, but don't stop there. There are levels beyond just meditation. Go further. Learn to enter altered states of consciousness, which provides great spiritual fulfillment. Do not be desperate. Let things come as they will. A quiet and slow mind is a healthy mind. An overexcited mind is the cause of anxiety and depression and other mental illnesses. You can think, of course, but don't forget to feel. 3. Learn to follow intelligent suggestion over compulsion or instinct. You may do as you please in life, it's true. There is nothing stopping you. However, there are natural consequences for certain behaviors or temperaments. And if you do not clean your mind as you mature, becoming aware of disharmonious and distressing qualities and removing them, you will suffer the consequences from the clouded mind that produced them. If the operation of intelligence is to remove error, then we will never be absent suffering if we do not shine a light into the darkness of ourselves. That light is reason. These are your choices you are left with. 1. That the only truth is your own. You will behave and act according to yourself, that you are your own God, and you will follow its idea to its fixed fate, and will face the consequences of its composition. Or 2. Submit to intelligent suggestion and reason, and give up or change parts of yourself to make life far more enjoyable for yourself and others, as you become a channel for harmony. This is a process of sacrifice, which is an act very high on the spiritual ladder. Remember what I said. Intelligence removes error. The choice is yours. If you find more delight in having an ego or traits that would not be considered harmonious with others, by all means. Perhaps that is the correct way for you to live. I leave that up to you. Just know you will be subject to the fate of its nature. 4. Stop caring. This is hard to do, but in such a world where you have little to no power to change things, you must stop caring for your own health. When you care about something, it means you love it. But love can be a detriment too, especially in a reality where change is the only thing permanent, meaning what you love will not last, and so it will bring you despair at some point. If you love everything that happens, you cannot be bothered. But if you love only certain things and loathe the opposite, you will suffer. You do not care about what happened to the squirrel that got ran over last night, that you saw as you were driving down the road. But if you did, you would suffer its loss, wouldn't you? By caring about something else, the pain and suffering or loss of another becomes your own. I am guilty of caring about nature and its well-being, and my desire for its constant exposure in a society that takes me away from it. And I have caused myself much mental anguish for years until I finally learned I have to stop caring in order to save myself. Again, I believe it's good to care about things, but in such a time we live in, we must let go. The direction of the world seems unstoppable, and so, stop caring. Find refuge in spirit, and live while you can. Until mankind unites together against the darkness of the world, you must stop caring. Attachment is a burden. Let it go. Let it flow. 5. Accepting death. Fear is a fetter. Fulfillment dwindles when attachment to life is present. Come to terms with death, the sooner the better, so you may live more days liberated. It may not be an easy process, but it will be for your benefit. Find acceptance in whatever way. For me, it was understanding death that made me accept it, because I found it is the way to infinite beginnings, not the way to an infinite, unconscious nothingness. So what's to fear once you know yourself to be immortal? Immortal by idea, and immortal by infinite incarnations. Once you accept death, you are set free. Suddenly, what is a crisis to most will be but a pinch to you. You will be relieved of many stings and pains once you shake hands with death. In fact, I have noticed, when we are closer to death, we live a better life, because people who are sheltered by society expect tomorrow to be there, because they are provided all of life's essentials. But this is not natural, and therefore, those who expect tomorrow to be there have far less appreciation for the day that they live. The body will never know freedom, but the mind and spirit can. I hope these words have been beneficial to you.